Devotee asked, is Bhagwan's teaching the same as Shankara's? Bhagwan said, Bhagwan's teaching is an expression of his own experience and realization. Others find that it tallies with Sri Shankara's. Devotee asked, when the Upanishads say that all is Brahma, how can we agree with Shankara that this world is illusory? Bhagwan said, Shankara also said that this world is Brahman or the self. What he objected to is one's imagining that the self is limited by the names and forms that constitute the world. He only said that the world has no reality apart from Brahm. Brahm or the self is like a cinema screen and the world like the picture on it. You can see the picture only so long as there is a screen. But when the observer himself becomes the screen, only the self remains. Shankara has been criticized for his philosophy of Maya illusion without understanding his meaning. He made 3 statements: that Brahman is real, that the universe is unreal, and the Brahman is the universe. He did not stop with the second. The third statement explains the first 2. It signifies that when the universe is perceived apart from Brahman, that perception is false and illusory. What it amounts to is that phenomena are real when experienced as the self and illusory when seen apart from the self. The self alone exists and is real. The world, the individual, and God are like the illusory appearance of silver in the mother of pearl, imaginary creations in the self. They appear and disappear simultaneously. Actually, the self alone is the world, the I and God. All that exists is only a manifestation of the Supreme. Devotee asked, what is reality? Bhagwan said reality must always be real. It has no names or forms, but what underlies them. It underlies all limitations, which itself limitless. It is not bound in any way. It underlies unrealities, being itself real. It is that which is. It is as it is. It transcends speech and is beyond description, such as being or non-being. Devotee asked, the Buddhists deny the world, whereas Hindu philosophy admits its existence but calls it unreal. Isn't not that so? Bhagwan said, it is only a difference of point of view. Devotee asked, they say that the world is created by divine energy. Shakti is the knowledge of unreality due to the willing by illusion Maya. Bhagwan said all admit creation by the divine energy, but what is the nature of this energy? It must be in conformity with the nature of its creation. Devotee asked, are there degrees of illusion? Bhagwan said, illusion itself is illusory. It must be seen by somebody outside it. But how can such a seer be subject to it? So how can he speak of degrees of it? You see various scenes passing on a cinema screen. Fire seems to burn buildings to ashes. Water seems to wreck ships. But the screen on which the pictures are projected remains unburnt and dry. Why? Because the pictures are unreal and the screen real. Similarly, reflections pass through a mirror, but it is not affected at all by their number or quality. In the same way, the world is a phenomena upon the substratum of the single reality, which is not affected by it in any way. Reality is only one. Talk of illusion is due only to the point of view. Change your point of view to that of knowledge, and you will perceive the universe to be only Brahman. Being now immersed in the world, you see it as a real world. Get beyond it, and it will disappear, and reality alone will remain. The world is perceived as an apparent, objective reality when the mind is externalized, thereby abandoning its identity with the self. When the world is thus perceived, the true nature of the self is not revealed. Conversely, when the self is realized, the world ceases to appear as an objective reality. That is illusion which makes one take what is ever present and all pervasive, full of perfection and self luminous, and is indeed the self and the core of one's being, for non existent or and unreal. Conversely, that is illusion which makes one take for real and self existent what is non existent and unreal, namely an trilogy of world, ego, and God. To those who have not realized the self, as well as to those who have the world is real, but to the former, truth is adapted to the form of the world, whereas to the later, truth shines as the formless perfection and the substratum of the world. This is the only difference between them. As I recall Bhagwan saying sometimes that unreal mithya imaginary, the real satyam means the same, but did not quite understand. I asked him about it. He said, "Yes, I do sometimes say that. What do you mean by real? What is it that you call real?" I answered, according to Vedanta, only that which is permanent and unchanging can be called real. That is the meaning of reality. Then Bhagwan said, the names and forms which constitute the world continually change and perish and are therefore called unreal. It is unreal imaginary to limit the self to those names and forms, and real to regard all as the self. The non dualistic says that the world is unreal, but he also says all this is Brahman. So it is clear that what he condemns is regarding the world as objectively real in itself, not regarding it as Brahman. He who sees the self alone in the world also. It is immaterial to the enlightened whether the world appears or not. In either case, his attention to turn to the self. It is like the letters and the paper on which they are printed. You are so engrossed in the letters that you forget about the paper, but the enlightened sees the paper as the substratum whether the letters appear or not on it or not. The Vedantis do not say that the world is unreal. That is a misunderstanding. If they did, what would be the meaning of the Vedantic text? All this is Brahman. They only mean that the world is unreal as the world, but real is as self. If you regard the world as non-self, it is not real. Everything, whether you call it illusion, Maya, or divine play, Leela, or energy, Shakti, must be within the self and not apart from it. Hari Om Tat Sat.